welcome to Create a Costume. This is our first week out of 2 weeks where I'm going to show you how to make your own costume at home using supplies that you could find around the house. If you were registered for this program, that means that you got a grab and go bag that I'm hoping you picked up from the library. And if you didn't register for this program, that's okay, because the point of the program is to be able to make costumes using things that you can find in your kitchen, in your bedroom, in your living room, all that kind of stuff, so you can create your own costume using the items you have. So what we're gonna do, because this is the first week, it is our introductory week, what I would love to show all of you at home is some examples of costumes that some of our librarians have made throughout the years, using stuff that they had at home. I'm gonna walk you through the pictures to tell you what they used, or to tell you what I think they used, to see if I can kind of remember. A lot of these pictures are a few years ago, so my memory may not be that great. To maybe give you some ideas and some inspiration behind what you can look for in your own house. So if you're ready to see some inspiration, let's get going, and then afterwards we're gonna come back and I'm gonna show you some of the goodies that are in your grab and go bag, and we are gonna start talking about what we need to plan out for next week. So if you take a look at this first picture, you will see Miss Tara on the left-hand side in the pink dress wearing a crown made out of pipe cleaners. That is something she made herself using supplies she had at home. In this example, you'll see me, Miss Liz, dressed as Buzz Lightyear. I used t-shirts, felt, and cardboard to make the backpack using materials that I had at my house. In this picture, you will see Miss Linda and Miss Mary. They have construction paper and felt attached to their costumes that they used to create their own. In this one, you'll notice Miss Monica used construction paper all the way on the left, and Miss Lauren used felt to make her rainbow fish costume. And in this one, this is an example of a costume I was making to be Thor. I used cardstock, duct tape, and hot glue to put this dress together. And this was a few Halloweens ago. You will see Miss Lauren made her cotton candy costume out of some batting that she found, and I created a Belle costume using scraps of fabric. And in this one, we have our very own characters from Toy Story that was made using a t-shirt, some cut-up felt, some plastic, and an old pair of jeans. Welcome back. So I hope you enjoyed some of the costumes that we have worn in the past. And as you can see, a lot of our costumes are homemade as well. And it is something that is near and dear to my heart. I love making my own costumes. Not only do you get to make the costume exactly what you want it to be, but it's so much fun and it's such a great creative outlet, which is why I'm so jazzed to show you all how to make your very own costumes at home using some supplies that I gave you and using other stuff that you can find in your house like we did with ours. So the first thing before we start going through our bag of goodies is we are going to talk about some basic staples that we're going to need to do our costumes. So the first thing you're going to want to try to find around your house is some pencils. These are so you can mark off some of your ideas, you can draw on some of the items that you have without making it permanent, and you can erase it. You can test out theories. So say you want to use a bag and you want to make a cool design, you can kind of sketch it out before you use like a permanent marker or paint. So these are really helpful. I always have 2 pencils because one inevitably breaks, so make sure they're both sharpened and make sure they both have super good erasers, because I promise you in the planning stages, you're going to be doing a lot of planning, erasing, and doing it again. Another staple you're going to want to need is, after you're done planning, erasing, and figuring stuff out, is a permanent marker. You can use a Crayola marker, a Sharpie, a felt tip marker, whatever you have at home will totally work. This is just for when you are ready to start your actual design phase. You can make your bold lines that you know what you're cutting or gluing or stapling or pasting or sewing, that kind of stuff. Marker shows up the best. But if you don't have markers and you have crayons or colored pencils, those work as well. Whatever you want to use, it's your costume, so create it your way. The other items you're going to need are some kind of glue base to create your costumes and put them together. So you can use stuff like hot glue. This is my favorite tool to use when making a costume because I am not a great sewer. I could do a quick hand stitch here and there, but if I'm trying to put a whole costume together, like we talked about earlier, I'm not gonna lie, I hot glue a lot of my stuff together. So this is my favorite. However, hot glue is hot, so if you are using it, make sure a grown-up is present and helping you with it. You can also use glue sticks if you're making a costume that has a paper base, or pom-poms, or cotton balls, or cotton swabs. I'm sure you've used them with programs with us before, so this should be no surprise that glue sticks are magical. You can also use stuff like liquid glue This is great for drawing designs if you want to paint over it and give them like a raised edge. This does take a little while to dry, so if you're going to use this, please be patient, please remain calm, and please enjoy it, because this can do a whole host of things that I will show you all later when we start making an actual costume. And lastly, what you're gonna wanna find around your house is a good pair of scissors. You wanna make sure they are sharp, they are clean, and they are able to cut through a lot of materials, whether you're using fabric, cardboard, paper, pipe cleaners, string, anything like that. You wanna have a pair of scissors that can help you design what you need. After you've gotten those staples from around your house, it is time to go through our craft bag so I can show you guys some of the items that you may have gotten in your grab and go kit. So we are gonna go through them all, and we are going to discover some of the creative costume pieces that are your jumping off point. So the first thing I would like you all to go into your grab and go bag to pull out is your create a costume inventory sheet. Why these pieces of paper is so important is because when you're creating a costume, it is really beneficial if you have an inventory sheet of every item that you think you're going to use. This is so that you can keep track of your ideas, you can keep track of your pieces, and so that 3 hours from now, if you're still working on your costume, you go, I thought I was going to use a pipe cleaner, but I seem to have lost it. Or, I totally forgot I had a bowl. That would be perfect for X, Y, or Z. Having an inventory sheet keeps our thoughts clear, concise, and in order. So now that you have your costume inventory kit out, what I would love you all to do before we go through the rest of this grab and go bag is to grab one of your pencils and put your grab and go kit to the side so that we can create our inventory sheet based off of the stuff that you received from your grab and go bag. Now again, if you are doing this at home without a grab and go bag, you do not have to follow this step with me. You can actually start collecting your items at home and making your own inventory list. So whatever way you're doing this, grab those inventory sheets, grab one of your pencils, and let's start recording everything that we've got to kickstart our Create a Costume program. So the first thing I would love for you all to write down on your inventory sheet and to find in your grab and go bag is the bandana. So you are going to write that on the first line and your quantity, which is 1. Next up, which I'm sure everybody saw sticking out of the top of their bag, is your paper crown. So you're gonna write that on your next line, quantity 1. The next thing that we are going to write down on our inventory sheet is 1 small paper plate, and the quantity is 1. We're going to follow that up on our inventory sheet with a large paper plate, which is a quantity of 1. The next thing you all are gonna pull out is this paper bag that looks like it has a bunch of pipe cleaners sticking out, and we're gonna go through these contents. Now, how you write the next things are up to you. I like to lump them all together so I don't have to individually write out like 1 green pipe cleaner, 1 silver pipe cleaner, 1 orange pipe cleaner. I'm just gonna count out the pipe cleaners and just write assorted color pipe cleaners and then the quantity there. So, if you would like to pull those out, you're gonna count them together. So you may have a different number in your bag than I have, and that's okay. You're gonna write down the quantity that you have, but I'm gonna go through mine. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 pipe cleaners. So that's what's gonna go on my inventory sheet. If you have less, write less. If you have more, write more. However many you have. Then, what I bet you didn't know is that you can use the brown paper bag that those pipe cleaners were in as a supply, which I will give you ideas of what to do with this. So you can write 1 small brown paper bag in quantity of 1. Also in that bag with your pipe cleaners should have been little clothespins. Yours might look a little different than mine. Yours might be wooden. I have these white ones, so we're gonna count those out, and that's also gonna go on an inventory sheet. Not only can these be a part of your costume, but they are great for holding items together, like this, if you're trying to set something with glue, which you'll see later. So they can either be a tool to use, or they can be a part of your costume. Or, best case scenario, they're gonna be a tool and part of your costume, because why not maximize the efficiency of these guys? Now, I don't want to bore you by going through each and every piece that's in your grab and go kit. This is just a video to show you all the stuff that's in there. if you want to take a look just to see what I'm going to be working with. You may have some different items in your bag, and that's quite all right. And like I've said many times at this point, feel free to use stuff that you also have around the house. Make it your own. This is just a quick overview of all the stuff that you have to start creating your own costume. So I sped this up because it got a little tedious, and you guys can play and have fun and look what's in your bag yourselves. So enjoy and start thinking about what you're going to do with all these goodies. Lastly, in my grab and go bag, what I have is 2 brown paper bags. So that's going to be the last thing that goes on my inventory sheet. And that'll round it out for what I have in my grab and go bag. Now, if you have anything different, if you have different items, feel free to keep going through that bag if you have more to go, and keep writing them down on your inventory sheet. This is just, again, so that we have a clear idea of everything that we're working with. And then lastly, I know I said lastly with the other 2 bags, but this is the real lastly, is also feel free, if it's in good condition, to use the bag that your grab and go supplies came in. This could be something that you test an idea out on. It could be an extra piece that you might need to make the perfect part of your costume. It could be something that you maybe just want to rip the handles off and use these as something, but use what you have. The whole point of our Create a Costume program is to let your creativity fly and see what kind of costume you can create at home using stuff. Now, I think I mentioned it earlier, but just in case I didn't, this bag that you picked up from the library is just a starter pack of stuff that you can use to make your costume. What I would love for everyone to do at home is to keep going through and asking your grown-up if there's stuff around the house that maybe you can use. Stuff like bottle caps, or construction paper, or plastic spoons, forks, that kind of stuff. Whatever you think you could use around the house to make into a costume that your grown-up is okay with you taking is fair game. If you have beads, if you have gems, if you have stickers, the possibilities are endless for your costume. So feel free that when we're done with this video and I show you the beginning stages of how we're going to do our costume, to go out, to find more stuff, and to please put it on your inventory sheet, because I would love to see what you all are using at home. So please, please, please do not be limited by the stuff that we gave you. This was just a kickstart, a starter pack to get you thinking and moving and creating. With all of that being said, we are going to go through the first phase of what it means to create a costume. So now that we have part of our inventory sheet filled out with all of the items that were in our grab and go and all the items that I hope you found in your house, it is time to start going through the inventory list and start thinking of ideas for all of these pieces. Now, the reason why I included the inventory sheet was not only to keep our items clear and concise, but to also keep our thoughts clear and concise, because I know I have done this many, many, many times when I've created a costume at home, where I start with one idea, I start making that idea, and then halfway through my creation process, I go, you know what I could also use this thing for? And then I start going in a completely different direction with my costume. And while that's okay, because it's all about creativity and what you want to do and what you feel like vibing with, it's also a little longer and it takes a little bit more time, because you may have to now rethink your entire costume, rethink the entire structure, all that kind of stuff. So I am hoping that you all learn from my mistakes, and we are going to start listing ideas for each item of what they could potentially be, because that is a way to see maybe either what costumes on our mind that we really, really, really want to make, or to see if we're headed in one direction or another. So the first thing we can look at are these pipe cleaners. Now, when I see a pipe cleaner, I think of a few different things. I think you can twist them into a bracelet, and then that could be part of like maybe a princess costume. You can also twist them into a headband. You can turn them into a crown like we saw earlier in one of Miss Tara's costumes. It could be anything that you want it to be. So take a look at your pipe cleaners and start writing down what you think you would like to use your pipe cleaner as. What I listed was just a few examples of what I see when I look at them, and you all may see something totally and completely different, and that is amazing. It is whatever you think these guys can act as. The next thing you can take are your cardboard rolls, and we're gonna start listing what we think these guys can act as. So when I see this long one, I think of a telescope. If I want it to be a pirate on the high sea. I also think it could be a fairy wand if I put some glitter and maybe take my ribbon and wrap it all the way around it and make it like super pretty. That kind of stuff. It can also be, if I want to glue it onto a headband, it could be a unicorn horn. The possibilities with this guy are endless. And then the same goes for your little guy. So take a look at him, see what he reminds you of. He could act as any of the things that we just mentioned above with the longer one. Or what I really like to do with these guys is I like to cut them in half and then cut them in half this way, and it turns into a wrist cuff, which I've done before when I've dressed up like Wonder Woman, and I've colored them gold and put the red star on them, so you can make them into a superhero cuff if that's what you're looking for. So you're just gonna write down whatever ideas you have for this guy. Again, this week we are just planning. Next, let's talk about our bandana. Now, I know the obvious two for your bandana are to make it into a cowboy, like this, or to make it into a pirate, like this, which are very good options, because I mean, that's kind of a cool pirate look. But it can be more than those two. When I see a bandana, I really think automatically of folding it up so that it's super skinny, which I'll show you in a second because I'm folding it. Like this. Putting it on my hair. And tying it at the top. After I have it in my hair like that, all I need is a denim shirt and some denim jeans. And can you guess what look I'm going for with this headband? If you guessed Rosie the Riveter, you'd be right. So that is who I think of when I see a bandana. So it can act as a headband. There's so many uses for a bandana that I bet you never thought of. And now I would like you to think of. And while you're thinking of some stuff to do with the items that were found in your grab and go kit, here are some examples of other things that you can make using stuff from the kit or stuff that you might have around the house. You'll notice that a lot of these costumes are made using paper bags, cardboard, pipe cleaners, old plastic soda bottles. The possibilities are endless, and these pictures are just serving as some inspiration and an example for what you can do at home using your own imagination and the stuff that you have around the house. Feel free to get really crafty and think about accessories. You can make some jewelry, you can use some old toys. It's all about everything that you can find and have on hand. So what your goal is after this week about hearing all about this stuff and seeing some examples of what Create a Costume is I would love for you all to start planning out your costume using your inventory sheet. You are going to start thinking of all the items. You're going to start seeing if there's a pattern in what you're writing out. So if out of the, I'm gonna make up a number right now. So if out of the 20 items that you have, you saw that you've written down a pirate or a princess or a superhero or a panda or a taco for 15 out of 20 of those items, guess what? I think you have your plan of what kind of costume you should be creating. If you have no pattern in any of your items and it is all over the place, it's okay too. Like I said before, I get so excited when I start planning costumes that I am like a nut job. I am everywhere. I want to be Belle. I want to be an evil queen. I want to be Cat Candy. I want to be a sloth. Whatever pops into my head at that moment. I change my mind so many times when I'm making costumes. It's not even funny. So if that's where we're starting off, that's fine too. It's okay. The idea is for us to just start creating costumes. So now that you have some ideas this week and you have a planning process in mind, next week what I'm gonna do is show you some techniques you can use to attach pieces to your costume. So it's gonna be different ways to tie your yarn together. It's gonna be different ways to glue items together. It's gonna be different ways to cut your paper bag into either a vest or a skirt or a belt or that kind of stuff. I'm gonna give you the tools and tips to start actually physically making your costume. This week is all about planning it and to just get you thinking about what you wanna make, because while you can make a costume off the top of your head, and by all means, if you know what you wanna make and don't need any tips and tricks, use these next 2 weeks to start creating your masterpiece. If you have any questions in the meantime, if you wanna show me your inventory sheets, if you wanna ask me, can this be used as this, or what do I think of this? Or if you just wanna show me what you did, because I would love to see it, please feel free to send me an email at the email address below, and I will get back to you with ideas, tips, tricks, anything that you're looking for. I would love to see it, and I would love to talk to you all to see what you're doing. And then maybe, if you have any questions, that means that some other kids have those same questions, we can address them in the next video. So do not be shy and do not hesitate to let me know if there's anything you need help with along the way. So have fun planning out your costume, have fun looking at what you have in your house, and have fun doing step 1 of create a costume. I will see you all next time on this day and time to start actually physically making our costumes. All right, have fun and happy creating. Bye.